we might need a place so that people can learn about our culture and regulate it. And this park from Mayor Henry Kim is the closest thing that anyone's proposed so far that would be positive in that aspect and could be open to changing and helping people to understand our culture. STEM science, sustainable industries, and things aside from just tourism and the military. So allowing this park with community input would be very important.
So my question is, what is Mayor Harry Kim's kuleana to Mauna Kea? I think it's time that Hawaiians start determining what's best for Mauna Kea and nobody else. I think it's time that the Lahui asserts control over our sacred mountain and nobody else. The mayor's proposal is not in alignment with Hawaiian values and the will of the Lahui and what the people feel is in the best interest. Sorry, I'm going a little bit over time, but I want to implore OHA to question what is his kuleana on our terms, based on our cultural values, to Mauna Kea. Yeah?
And to know that there's this proposal for being called a peace park. That cannot be peace. It's not peace to, impose something on the people who have fought and given their lives. That is war. It is the worst kind of desecration. It is the height of what it means to be an occupied country.
When you live on the bottom in the opala that surrounds our shoreline, we cannot see clearness on the top. They never had rubbish up there. How come we want to put one peace park? First of all, we are not all in peace with ourselves. We are blind. We're not fighting each other. We're just blind because we don't want to look past our nose. We have more things to say bad about each other than solve the problem.
One of the things that we tried expressing during the Kukia'i Mauna struggle was this narrative that it's not about science versus culture. Yeah? It was never about science versus culture. It was never an anti-telescope kind of thing. We were against the treatment of the Mauna, the mistreatment of the Mauna. And so this proposal, in my opinion, falls right into that same category. Yeah, okay, and TMT fits into this proposal as well, according to the reports that I've read, or would fit into it. There's no secret, there's no need to wonder how the people are going to react to this. There's no need to wonder because we've already been given the answer 2 years ago. And in fact, the answer is in our front of our face right now. When you look at Kukia'i Mauna and you look at the amount of days that people stayed on the Mauna, the amount of arrests, the arrests that were made there, and that story is well known. It's been broadcasted all over the place. But then we look at the contested case hearing as well. And I think that's another big sign of Aloha Aina and a reminder and a clear message that this is not going to happen. We will not allow it to happen. And when we think about the people that are in that contested case, regular people, just like me, not trained in anything, big and special, just regular Kanaka. But they went up against a $1.4 billion project for months and months and months. And they did some damage in the courtroom too. When you look at, the Mehana Kihois and the Kalani Florises and all of those people, Freitas, everybody in there. We'll take up all my 5 minutes for list their names. But the things that they've done have to be, it's got to be mahaloed, man. The commitment that they have made. And so, again, my mana'o is to you that I don't think we want this. I don't think we want this. If we want peace, then we go down the other way. If we understood, and if he understood the concept, the function, the perspective of kuleana, he would know that he has no kuleana to Mauna Kea. He has no kuleana to Mauna Kea because the people who have kuleana to Mauna Kea never gave him that kuleana. And when I see some of the language about a living museum for the cosmopolitan Hawaiian people, for a people that belong to the world, we're going to give Mauna Kea as a symbol of peace for the world. Again, we go back to kuleana. You don't have the kuleana to give Mauna Kea to the world. And we need to remember, you also don't have the kuleana to define Hawaiians. Hawaiians have that kuleana. And we've defined ourselves. Our mo'oku auhau is laid out. Our mo'olelo is clear. Unless we want pilikia, unless we want Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians alike getting arrested on Mauna Kea, off of Mauna Kea, if we want issues, then we go ahead and we propose a road park. We go ahead and accept it.
The acknowledgement of the people of Hawaii and their contributions to the science of astronomy of Mauna Kea. Mauna Kea to be the living museum of the people of the First Nation of Hawaii. Everyone on my island knows I don't say indigenous people anymore. Why? Because I consider that almost like an insult. And I copy the country of Canada, who will not also use that word. I believe that Mauna Kea is an opportunity for Hawaii to be the center of discovery of mankind and the universe. I believe that Mauna Kea can be and should be this. I still believe that. You think I don't know the controversy of 30 meter? This is not a proposal to this board. This was an answer of a question. I said, you know, I know the controversy of Mauna Kea. That every single person that would fly over, come over, or look at this mountain to know what it stands for. And you've got to hear the rest of the words, what I said. A symbol of the cosmopolitan people of Hawaii and the people of the First Nation of Hawaii and what they are, what they stood for. And even that I said, and the wrongs done to them. That's what I meant by living museum. So I chose a bad word of park. The people at the university will all tell you of my severe criticism towards them because of the mismanagement of Mauna Kea. The people at the Astronomy Center will tell you, where all the people, the scopes is present, and asked me the same question about my opinion of Mauna Kea. And I told them, you are to blame in part for the controversy of Mauna Kea today because of you trashing the mountain. And we have got to be better.
And I will affirm that our mayor, as our chair has said, he's got a lot of guts. He says what he means what he says, and he says what he means. But I will affirm that he is a man of aloha, love for our land, love for our islands, a kind, decent, and truthful person. So mahalo, Mayor, for being here.
When they asked me how would this be accomplished, I told them it's not for me to decide. What I think is necessary is an organizational structure made up of hand-picked, I don't know the numbers, but it'd be 5, 6, 7, or 10, hand-picked people who would draw the bylaws of this governing body. Then hand-picked by others for the selection of this number of people who would be the governing body, independent of government, organizationally answering to the governing body of OHA and the state government. I asked the president of the University of Hawaii recently, how would you feel about discussion on that? And the president said, I know we need to take a look at the whole picture. I am open to any discussion on the reorganization.
You talked about your role in reacting to the Constitution. In the Constitution, it talks about a traditional and customary right. Our people for decades have been getting arrested, and they have this traditional and customary right. How does this help when you say world peace by bringing the whole world when for decades our people didn't even have the right to even be up there on the mountain? And I like what you're saying. Are you considering taking TMT off the table too?
You're not going to like this answer, but I'll answer you. It's always got to be of truth. I think the people of Hawaii and the mountain of Mauna Kea could be that. Did I push it? No, I just answered the question.
For OHA trustee to ask that question, I don't think it's fair because OHA itself didn't take a stand. We're still in a neutral position, and we should support.
I'm not asking for a stand, okay? I just answered the question.
A conflict. Cannot have peace without resolving a conflict, everybody. The conflict, the big conflict here, to me, my opinion, everybody over here, I love each and every one of you folks, but we're all working on the false pretense. Why? We're standing on truth. 1981, Mayor Kim. None of us knew the truth, that there was no treaty of annexation.
Now, Mayor Kim, I don't have Mu'oku Oho either. I'm not Hawaiian. I'm Japanese. I look at you and I see my uncles and my father. I see my grandfather. I see the men in my family. I know you have a good heart. But I also see Ronald Fujiyoshi, who got arrested with the Kia'i on April 2nd. He was one of the 31 who was arrested, and he also does not have Mo'oku Oho. We don't have genealogy, but we have a choice. So the academic term we use for who we are, we don't have Mo'oku Oho, we're settlers. But as settlers, we can choose to be allies, or we can choose to be colonial settlers who perpetuate the colonial processes. To think about Mauna Wakea as a museum puts the injustices in the past. Colonialism and occupation is not relegated to the past. It's ongoing today. It continues today.
Yeah, I was hoping that I could speak to Harry. Harry's a good guy, but time and place is all screwed up. And he thinks he's just speaking as a person, but he's the mayor. So all of us in this room, we're here not because he's a person, but because he's the mayor.
Exactly.
You know, he cannot just say things and not realize who he is and the impact he's having on everybody. And what I wanted to tell him was that I don't think he said that, oh, he understands the controversy. And I don't think too many of us really understand the controversy. When you say it in that light, you really don't understand what is going on. This is not just a controversy. This is something that comes along every 50 years or so. And the last time I saw anything like this was Kaho'olawe, where there's something about the issue that codifies the Hawaiian community. And this issue is not going to just disappear. This is a do or die issue. This is an issue that you cannot compromise on. There is no compromise on this issue of the TMT. So I wanted to try and explain to him what people have done and how this issue has impacted all of the different islands. His statements, even though they're well-meaning, confusing, number one, he's not quite clear what he's really saying. And it's being done at a time where the issue of Mauna Kea needs to be left to the people. This is not a governmental issue. This is a people issue that came from the people. They're the ones who's putting all the energy. They're the ones who are getting arrested. They're the ones laying down their lives. It's a people movement. They see what happened on the coastline, right? Waikiki, the Gold Coast of the Big Island. That coastline is going to be like Waikiki, where hardly any Hawaiians go over there. No more fish anyway, so why go over there? So you push the Hawaiians away from the ocean and the living. Then you get all these genetically modified international companies come to Hawaii because of our weather. And they start poisoning our uka lands. So we lose the kai lands, we lose the uka lands. Now we're at the top of the mountain. Where are we going to go next? It's the cliff. We're pushed up against the cliff. So that's when he's talking about, what he's talking about is us as Hawaiians, draw a line in the sand. We cannot go anyplace else. We will not lose this battle. And you will not tell us what the future of this island and this mountain is all about. It's up to the people to decide. So those are the things that I wanted to talk to him about.